Who have we angered? What football god did we anger to give us the 2023 NFL season that the Cleveland Browns have had to deal with? Seriously, who have we angered? What have we upset? There's always been jokes about that stadium being built on land. It was built on a landfill, actually, by the way. Ryan, insert your own jokes there. But what have we done this season to deserve what the Cleveland Browns have had to deal with? Because yet again, you are adding 2 more starting players to the injured reserve to add to an already impressive list of guys that are not playing for the Cleveland Browns anymore this season. Somehow, some way, they have kept it afloat. They are in a playoff spot, and they have a chance to actually, what we talked about yesterday, Ryan, go win a playoff game. But yet again, here we are scrambling to try to find guys to fill roles. It's borderline, you can't overcome it. And here the Browns still sit, overcoming all of the not even dysfunction. Ryan, they're injured. There is something going on in Berea with all of the injuries. Jed Will's gone. Now DeJuan Jones gone. What does that all mean for the Browns moving forward? I have more Joe Flacco contract practice squad things to get to. Cavs fall last night to Boston. We got time hop. We got a pretty close bracket rolling for your favorite appetizer. We got it all for you right here on a Wednesday edition, right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Before we get to anything, Ryan, this was asked of me yesterday. How's the engineering thing going with the lady? Have you had an opportunity? So if you missed the show last week, we're helping Ryan out there find a friend, so to speak. And we thought a job title change to engineer would help. Have you instituted it? Any just quick updates? Somebody asked me yesterday. I don't want to do weekly updates on it. I don't want to put you on the spot like that, but just to think, all right, going well? Going okay?
I'm happy to do a weekly update for those out there, by the way.
Can only help.
So no worries. I was going to say, right, the more eyes that I get, better
that's
my
fine.
chances
That's
are.
fine.
No real big update.
Okay, good enough.
I went out. I had a good weekend. Went out, had a good time. But nothing really. Nobody caught the engineer.
We'll work on it. What you got to do is start with one of your friends and ask, how's the new job going? And then all of a sudden just slide in there and see kind of where it goes.
I'm gonna pull up my student loans and they're gonna think it's my bank account.
That's fine too. Hey man, big student loans. You think, oh wow, you got a real big important degree for engineering or whatever that he does. So I just want to catch an update on that.
No, I appreciate the concern.
Anytime. We'll keep that rolling there for young Ryan here on the show. We got a lot to get to today. We will talk a lot of Cavs this morning. Last night, dude, when they shoot, triple the amount of free throws that you had? I remember the number, but they didn't even miss them the free throw line. We'll talk Cavs, and if you are starting to get a little nervous about JB Bickerstaff's job, that'll come up. I do have power rankings for the NBA. I have NFL strength of schedule for all the remaining playoff teams. That is good news for the Cleveland Browns. We'll get to the morning update. Mention the bracket, which one of them was very close.
It was.
One of them, we're doing your favorite appetizer. Chips and queso and pretzel and beer. Cheese.
I think fried pickles got pretty disrespected.
Well, now we have the wings in the other one, and I'm getting the tweets from people. Wings aren't an appetizer. We might have to just pull rank and say mozzarella sticks advances because they're in second. But we'll get to that a little bit later in the show.
I'm all for that.
We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. We got the news yesterday. Browns, do you want to know why this is kind of my fault? So shout out to Andy McNamara. Andy hosts a podcast, The Sick Podcast, and he does fantasy football, but he's a Browns podcast. And I've known Andy for a while, and we've been meaning to find time to get on, and I know the OBR guys, I'm going to probably get on with them this week. So I appreciate when people reach out, and they'd love to have you on, and I'd love to promote them, and they love promoting us, and they're all good people. So Andy goes, hey, man, you got time? And I said, yeah, sure. So I get on with Andy's podcast yesterday. We record, and we're talking about all the litany of things with the Browns. Ryan, I said on that podcast, I blank you not, 45 minutes before they announced Jed Wills, I said on that podcast, I hope the Browns can open his practice window soon, and if you get him back, then maybe we got something rolling. 45 minutes later, they announced that he had to have a second scope on that knee, and he's done. This is... You and I were talking before the show, man. You're younger than me. You haven't seen a lot of football. But even you said this is the most injury-plagued you've ever seen this season. Ryan, I will tell you, for me doing this job, for me being a fan for as long as I don't think I have ever seen an injury streak that the Browns have had. I was sitting here trying to think, is there a position on the team that has not been impacted with a serious injury? Wide receiver was the only one that I could think of, but you still had Marquise Goodwin out for some time. Amari Cooper's been battling through numerous injuries, and you're straight away down Peoples-Jones. Other than that, you've had corner deal with injury. You've had safeties on the IR. You have linebackers on the IR. You have D linemen on the IR. And now you have three of your offensive linemen on IR. You know, it was funny yesterday. Not funny in a way, but Miami had to announce that their center, Connor Williams, tore his ACL, unfortunately. He's out for the year. And people were acting like the sky was falling. And I go, well, wait a minute. Let me tell you about what's happening up here in Cleveland, man. You lost one of your linemen and your center. Find me a team that has had to run through 5 different starting offensive linemen, and not due to performance. Not due to performance, due to injury. And the thing is, there's no way to point at one thing. These are all different injuries for different guys at different positions. And the ultimate question is, like, we're in this right now. Here's maybe our Twitter question this morning to you, Ryan. Are the injuries distracting from the Browns' playoff run? Are you as a fan distracted by the injuries? And I don't think there's a wrong answer here. And maybe distracted is the wrong word to use. But like, here we are again where I want to be talking about facing the Chicago Bears. And every time it seems like we get a little momentum rolling to talk about this team making the playoffs and hopefully winning a playoff game, you have yet another semi-devastating. I mean, some injuries were more devastating than others. Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson are top of that list. But all of the ones that the Browns have had to face, is it taking away? I don't want to say your joy, because it is. I tell you right now, it's taking away the joy. But, like, is it distracting from the fact that the Browns are in a playoff hunt right now? And I understand everybody deals with injuries, and we just came up really bad luck this year, and you got to still make the playoffs, and that doesn't matter. Sure, and I understand that. And then there are other people that are a little more sympathetic towards it, and I say understanding, to be like, well, what did you want them to do? And the fact that they have kept it afloat this long, the fact that the Browns have been able to keep it together it's truly remarkable. As much as essays, like, it's remarkable to see how injured the Browns are. The fact that they're still in this, Ryan, it would be easy. It would be easy, and I think acceptable, to just wash this season up and just say, what did you want us to do? We have 6, if not even more, but I'll just say 6 impactful players and starters on IR. And a couple of them have missed the vast majority of the season. Not even just quarterback. Because you could almost live in a world where if your quarterback was healthy and then you just had a litany of injuries everywhere else, you're like, okay, you still got your quarterback. Or vice versa. If you lost the quarterback but everybody else was healthy, you would ask, okay, find a way to go win some games. You have both. You have a situation where you have missed your biggest playmakers on offense. Your best corner has missed time. Your starting pass rusher, your generational pass rusher, is battling an injury. And now you got all these guys on IR. And yesterday, for it being Mo Hurst and now Jed Wills, and then on top of the DeJuan Jones news that we got, the depth of this team certainly has been tested. It certainly has. And to pull a positive out. You want me to be positive for a second, Ryan, here on some of these injuries?
Yeah.
You have found guys that can play. You have found guys that can play. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to have to thrust backups into a starting role. But when you do, you can find your DeJuan Joneses of the world. There was, in a grand scheme world, right? DeJuan Jones wasn't going to play a snap this year. He was going to be on field goal block, and that was about it. And you had to put him into a role, and he thrived, and he excelled. And now that changes how you approach next season and moving forward. That's a positive to take out of it. and you've had to play other guys and get some books on some people, and you've had MJ Emerson have to step up like he did on Sunday with Denzel Ward being out. There's your positive. The other thing, this team has built a lot of scars. And that's like a football cliche thing and what it means for the culture of this team. But going into next year, for the guys that are here, you're telling me that they would go, you're going to find me something tougher than 2023? Even going through the COVID year, which a lot of the key players on this team were here for and went through the bad and the losing. Because losing doesn't always create what you want. You'd think, all right, man, we're tough, and going through 1-31 really helped prepare some of these guys for the NFL. That's not always the case. The fact is that the Browns are winning with all of this going on. That will help prepare this team. With whatever gets thrown at them next year, with whatever they have to face, they're going to say, you know what? We found a way to get through this year. We can almost find a way to get through anything. So there is positives, but you don't want to deal with this. You don't want to deal with any of this crap. Like, it's crazy, man. It is absolutely crazy. I don't think I have ever seen it this bad from an injury standpoint. And we talked about this, because this is a little before your time. When I think about Browns injuries, a lot of people go to the staph infection outbreak that they had. And do you know the story about LaCharles Bentley?
LaCharles Bentley.
You don't know who LaCharles Bentley is?
I can't say I do.
I'm going to tell you a story about LaCharles Bentley.
I like the name.
So I got to meet LaCharles. I worked with LaCharles when he first, not quite got done playing, but he worked at ESPN Cleveland for a little while. And before I say anything about LaCharles Bentley, I'll tell you this. He is one of the most stunningly jacked human beings I have ever seen in person in my life. Like, he could smash me with his two fingers. Nicest guy in the world. He is a nice guy. He is great.
Yeah, I just looked him up. He's got some big
And
arms.
here's the thing. When he got done playing, man, he got cut. Like, you know how Joe Thomas looks like a statue because he's just ripped up and everything? That's how LaCharles looked. So LaCharles played at Ohio State. He won the Remington Trophy, to bring that back again, at Ohio State. And he played a career in New Orleans. Now, he's from Cleveland. I think he played at St. Ignatius. So in free agency one year, the big splash the Browns made was they went and signed LaCharles Bentley, I think to like a 3-year deal, and he was one of the best offensive linemen available. And you signed him, and you're bringing him back home. Ryan, on the very first play of training camp, he tore his knee and never played again. And in part of that was because that was part of the staph infection problem that they were having there in the facility. First play, tore it out. Never played again. Never played again. Went on to immediate. Actually, you know what LaCharles does now? He runs an offensive line camp, I think out of Arizona. He started it here. Pretty much any offensive lineman worth a damn in the NFL, they go work with LaCharles because he's that good.
His
Isn't he a big dude? Isn't he a big dude?
So big.
Dude, he's jacked out of his mind. Absolutely jacked out of his mind. So that is like when I think of bad injury luck for the Browns, I think of LaCharles, and I think about that era. This might even be worse. This might even be worse. Because, like, the staph infection thing, that was an issue that they had. And I remember they were fumigating the facility to try to get it out of there. This is so different, where it's been just this long season. It's all these different injuries. You deal with that with teams where they have a rash of hamstring injuries, right? And then you start questioning, okay, strength and conditioning, or whatever. These are shoulders and knees and ankles and, well, really a lot of shoulders, and then, now Mo Hurst with a pectoral injury, bicep there for Rodney McLeod. It's just the bad luck, man. And I hate playing that card because that is the borderline. Woe is us, Cleveland, and we have to fight uphill for anything. I can't help I feel like we're cursed. I feel like this season is just cursed for the Cleveland Browns. If I get a tweet about Deshaun Watson, because people think this is karma for that. I don't want to say who, but
yeah,
there are people.
That's dumb.
I'm just saying. That's something that's out there. And just to see it pile up, and maybe this is going to help us in the future. Maybe we one day will laugh about what the Browns had to go through this year. But that list, and I know a lot of people sent this list out yesterday, but it's like some guys you even thought about. Jacob Phillips was going to play a lot of reps at linebacker, out for the year. Watson, Chubb, DeJuan Jones, Jedrick Wills, Jack Conklin, Rodney McLeod. Done. All of them. Done. And now it's even the quarterbacks. We'll talk about this around the league coming, or excuse me, morning update coming up. Herbert's out now. I did the math, dude. That's $250 million worth of quarterbacks not playing just for this season. Like salaries this season, 250 odd some million dollars of quarterbacks not playing this year.
Now, I just pulled up this. It's like a tracker for the NFL teams' reserved injury list. So
yeah,
it's the cap cash summary for each team.
I looked at that yesterday
with
too.
Players who have been or are currently on the reserve injured list through the current week. Browns are number one, 24.43%.
Yeah. Of their salary cap.
Next closest is the Chargers at 19.
Yeah, and that's just because they put Herbert on.
Yeah.
Right before that is probably less. So you're talking about literally a quarter of your salary cap.
That's insane.
A quarter of your salary cap is sitting on the sidelines. That's it, dude. It's incredible. And that's the job that I think Kevin Stefanski has done. And I guess to a point, you have got to give Andrew Berry some credit. I think he's caught a little flack this year, maybe deserving so. Oh, I didn't want to go here, but I guess so. Does that Jed Wills decision not look like a complete mistake? Picking up his fifth-year option. And I know Jed didn't ask to get hurt, and he was trying to come back, and as of yesterday when I joined Andy on the sick pod, I thought he was going to come back. But you're talking about a second procedure on a knee. That's not good. That's not good. But you got to give Andrew Berry credit for finding some of the guys that have been able to step up and play. Ronnie Hickman, now, that's the thing too. Juan Thornhill, how many games? And again, I'm not getting angry at the players. I would never get angry at a player for getting hurt. Juan Thornhill. Has he missed half the season? It seems like that.
It definitely seems like
it's like this calf, and then is it the same calf injury that he had early? I mean, he's been out, so now you got to turn to Ronnie. It's just, dude, it's so much. It is so much right now. And the fact that the Browns are still in this position, and they're just going to have to rally and find a way. Now, you talk about the offensive line and where the Browns sit. You're going to have to start James Hudson now and Gary Christian. You don't have a choice. That's it. So then, well, okay. Do you need to slide Joel Bitonio out? Is it time to make that move? Would you consider it? They've done it before. This team has done it. It was COVID year. They had to do it. That was a discussion that I had with somebody yesterday about, let's play the shuffle game on the offensive line, a game you never want to have to play. You slide Joel Bitonio out to left tackle, and then you would have to then flip Christian back over to right tackle if James Hudson's not getting the job done. I think this weekend, which is where I wanted to go, is talk about the pass rushers that we're going to have to face, and obviously this weekend it's a pretty big one in Montez Sweat. But let's say it goes really bad this weekend, and you're going to have to make a change. You slide Bitonio out. You then maybe bump Christian over to right tackle, because here's the thing. Michael Dunn is your backup guard. You feel, in my opinion, would feel more confident in him playing guard than you might James Hudson playing tackle. Now, I want to hold on to what Wyatt Teller said on Monday. Wyatt Teller said he felt like James Hudson got a little bit of a bad rap in that game from the referees. Okay, I will take Wyatt's word, and I hope that that's true. And I don't think the Browns are going to make any moves for this weekend. At this point, you got to do what you got to do. But the other thing that I think is your best backup lineman is Nick Harris. Like, he played really well at center. Can you bump Posick out, who, again, is still technically out with that stinger, and we'll get an update on him later today. But, that is the game that Bill Callahan, who we have thrown bouquets at because he's a wizard and he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the league, but you're going to put that on him. And you always hear coaches say the best 5 guys are going to play. Who are the best 5? I know Joe Bitonio and Wyatt Teller are 1 and 2. I think Ethan Posick is next, but really then my next best lineman is Nick Harris. Then my next best lineman might be Michael Dunn. Then it might be Christian, and then it might be Hudson. And you're going to have to play this match game of fitting it in while also trying to execute the offense at a high level, run block, and protect your 38-year-old quarterback who's not quite fleet of foot as he used to be. Or if he ever was. I don't think Joe Flacco was ever fleet of foot, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, you have got to play this game of switching all this kind of stuff up. It's a hard task to do, man. Then we talk about the rest of the Browns' schedule on the way out. So again, this weekend, you face Montez Sweat. And obviously, solid. I mean, there's nothing really about. I think he's good. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's a top 10 rusher in the league, but he's also not bottom 10. So then you face the Houston Texans, who, oh, by the way, has some guy named Will Anderson as one of the top picks in the draft and showing out in his rookie year. Their leading sack guy. Actually, they have a guy, Jonathan Greenard, has 10 sacks for the Houston Texans. And then Will Anderson is there. Then you turn to the Jets. Now, the Jets, for as good as their defense is, it's a lot of their secondary, but don't forget they still have Quinnen Williams on that defensive line, and that's more of an interior problem when you deal with them. John Franklin Myers, all that kind of stuff. And then you finish it out with the Bengals, who we know, Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard. The positive is you're done with TJ Watt. You don't have to see TJ Watt anymore. So that's done. You don't have to face Nick Bosa, right? You had to face him in that 49ers game. That's done. The best pass rushers that you will see are gone. But you still, and again, we'll get to strength of schedule coming up here in a minute. It's kind of favorable from there on out. I really think Josh Allen, who you just saw this past weekend, is probably the best pass rusher that you'll see the rest of the way. I think Montez Sweat is second, but at least with the 4 games remaining, you face teams that you feel like semi-okay about having to scheme it up and block against. I'm really trying to talk myself into that, right? Because that's a tough one for me. All right, let me look this up. Sack totals for the year. Which team leads the NFL in sacks?
Is it still the Ravens?
It is the Ravens. 49. The Browns have 38, so they are top 10. Let me see here. Let me scroll to the bottom. Do you know who has the second least amount of sacks in the NFL?
Second least amount?
The Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Chicago Bears. Then the Houston Texans are like 20th. They only have 31. Bengals, 35. They're right in the middle. And the Jets only have 1 more sack. You are facing, of the 4 teams that you are facing on the way out, they are second half in the NFL all in sacks. All right. There's some positivity. Try to figure that out in the best way that you can. And you're also going to look to Flacco, probably get the ball out a little bit quicker, make your decisions a little bit faster, and we'll see. Our Twitter question is up, at Matt Fontana Show. Have the injuries become a distraction for you as the Browns get ready for the playoffs? Are they distracting you from the joy of being in a playoff position right now? I loved how you put that, right? That's a perfect way to put it. Are they distracting you from the joy of the fact that the Browns are in a playoff spot right now? That's up at Matt Fontana Show. I have to vote yes. I have to vote yes. Because the other problem, watching how well the Browns are playing, in the back of my head I go, man, they could be playing better. Man, if they had this guy or if they had that guy, damn, they could be playing a lot better. So I have to vote yes on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm a vote yes. I mean, it's because the way you look at it is when you see these injuries, okay, then you start to think, okay, how is this going to affect this season in the long run, right? And each injury kind of caps that realistic ceiling. So you can't help but put those two together. But I like the way Ken Galvin, he commented. He said he's not, and it's because Stefanski's in his bag right now and keeps figuring out the best way to utilize his players. He says, until he can't do that anymore, I'll continue to be excited that we keep winning and we're in a playoff position.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing about we try not to get too much into Stefanski just because people have their opinion on him. They're going to keep their opinion on. It's fine. Do what you want to do. But, yeah, I mean, the job that he has done has been incredible. Flipping around ESPN this morning, I always appreciate it'd be Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano. I guess if they were together doing this, then that's what they would do. And they go around the league and they talk about the coaching hot seats. We'll probably do this a little bit later in their show because I think it's interesting. Their Week 15 buzz. Here were the things that they talked about. Ron Rivera, Brandon Staley, and Bill Belichick. Of course, pretty big news on Belichick that It's not shocking, but it's still big news that Robert Kraft is reportedly going to move on from at the end of the season. They talk about other hot seats and also sneaky candidates. You want to know why I clicked on sneaky candidates, Ryan?
This is sneaky candidates who have a sneaky hot seat?
No, sneaky to take a job.
Oh, okay.
You want to know why I clicked on it?
Were you worried about Jim Schwartz?
I don't want Jim Schwartz. I don't want Jim Schwartz leaving.
Jim Schwartz?
You're positive? He was not listed.
Nice.
Good. Yeah. Jim Schwartz sucks, man. Let me just tell all the rest of the teams that want to come try to interview Jim Schwartz. It's not him. It's the players. He's really bad at his job. He's barely holding on here. You guys just better look elsewhere. Do not clip that and send that out. Stop that.
Matt, I was
you
just
better not
that.
do that.
I
was lying. That is facetious. I
like,
don't want Jim Schwartz getting poached for some other job.
I was
man.
like, I'm not going to clip that, but I was just imagining
no.
somebody just taking that so
Somebody
out of
just
context.
sat down at work and just that's the first thing that they listened to on our show this morning is me saying Jim Schwartz sucks at his job. Hey, man, I will take that. I will bite that bullet if that means that tells any of these other teams to not come hire him. So we'll get to this a little bit later, but one of their mailbag things that they brought up with Graziano and Fowler, Flacco's practice squad thing again, which is like, oh my God. Okay. We talked about this yesterday. He is on the practice squad. He has, I guess, only one more elevation. I thought it was two more, but he has one more elevation. And here's what Jeremy Fowler writes. When Browns coach Kevin Stefanski announced Sunday that Joe Flacco would be a starter for the remainder of the season, it begged the question, what will the team do about his practice squad status? The Browns will need to add him to the 53-man roster eventually. Hey, the good news is we got a lot of guys that just went on IR. We got open roster spots. And he says, and Flacco has one more week of practice squad elevation left. Fully plans to stay in Cleveland, so there's no real drama. But Fowler's point, a contract needs to be finalized. And of course, Flacco would have what? Leverage. He's thrown for 565 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2 games. That's really good, man. That's pretty good. Coming off cold off the bench. So this could be a deal that includes some extra cash or incentives beyond the minimum. I will ease Jeremy Fowler's issues on this to say they will pay Joe Flacco. Don't worry about it. They will find a way. They have cash. They have salary. I didn't think I'd be living in a world where they'd have to eat up some of their salary cap for Joe Flacco this season, but here we are. There's nothing to be worried about there. Yes, they have to work out a contract. Yes, they could put heavy incentives in there to, again, circumvent the salary cap a little bit if you need to. They will find a way to compensate Joe Flacco well. And again, I think Flacco, you want to get paid properly, sure. He's made his money in his career. I really see this as bonus time for Joe Flacco. He wants his kids to see him play. He's finishing out his career. Somebody helping a team try to make the playoffs. It's a dream. And it probably gets to walk away. Now, it's funny when I saw the headline had Joe Flacco contract. You know what I thought of, Ryan? Is he going to try to get a contract for next year? Is that a thing?
I can't wait for that debate.
Well, and I don't think in Cleveland, like you've put all your eggs in the Deshaun Watson basket.
What if he wins a Super Bowl?
He's 38. I mean, what do you want him to do? Trust me, you want to know what? That's a good problem to have. And I will cross that bridge if we get there. But you probably assume Joe Flacco's not. If he goes to sign a contract somewhere else or if he really wants to keep playing, that's good for him somewhere else. But still, I don't understand why they're going to pay him. He's going to get off the practice squad. There's really nothing to worry about on that. All right, let's catch a break. We'll get to Browns' remaining strength of schedule coming up. We'll also get around the league with the NFL with the Week 15 mailbag there from Fowler and Graziano. A lot of coaching stuff there. But when we return, Ryan, we got to talk some wine and gold. Cavs fall to the Celtics last night. And that game, I was floored because I got to it late, putting the kid to bed, sat down, and I was like, are the Cavs really up at one point like 20-7 on the Celtics in the first quarter? Now, I had that horrible feeling that the Celtics were going to come back, and oh boy, they did. And I got some issues with last night's game. Not just the free throws, but something else that I think speaks to a bigger issue with the Cavs. We'll get to that coming up. We got power rankings from ESPN as well, and the biggest roster hole for the Cavs. I know we're still way off from the trade deadline, but what do the Cavs need to do to improve this team? You're not going to want to hear the answer. Mostly because I don't know if they can do anything. We'll talk about all of that coming up. Vote on our Twitter question up at Matt Fontana Show. Drop us a follow there. And also vote on our bracket. We might need to make the decision on wings versus
Yeah.
mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, I think we have to.
We'll
Matt.
figure that out at the end of the show. But nonetheless, vote on that. We got it all coming up for you. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. If you missed anything, our shows the last couple of days at Matt Fontana Show. We're up on Big Play on YouTube and our own show handle on YouTube as well. Josh Maria Cribbs had...
Kareem Hunt on
There you
last
go.
night.
Ryan sneakily couldn't tell us who it was yesterday, but Kareem Hunt joining Josh and Maria last night. Quite the hometown people there right there. Kent State's own Josh Cribbs and Toledo and Willoughby South. I'm that old. I covered Kareem Hunt in high school. I called one of his games in high school.
Nice.
I did. I'm that old. So nonetheless, he was on there last night. If you missed it, go follow Josh and Maria on their handle. But just everything's at Big Play. The easiest thing I can tell you, go follow at Big Play on Twitter and on YouTube, and it's all there for you. All right, we got to talk some wine and gold. JB on the hot seat. Maybe. Discussing next. Stay with us.
Ready?
Yeah, no, I'm stuck on a tweet.
Oh, I love Twitter.
Dude, welcome back. Matt Fontana Show. We're going to talk Cavs. We're talking Browns. Gannon Bowe says that we are making it a distraction with the injuries with the Browns. Our question was, are they distracting you from the joy of making the playoffs? And the tweet, I swear to God, is you guys are making it a distraction for the team. It's next man up. Really, man? The rash of injuries that they have had, and this is our fault? Okay. All right. Sorry.
You did just take credit for Jed Wills earlier.
It kind of was my fault, okay? I mentioned it on a podcast yesterday, and 45 minutes later, he had to have another scope, and he's out. Okay, it is my fault. I'll suit up for Sunday. How about that?
Yeah, we need to have a Muni Lot tryout.
Yeah, we can Muni Lot tryout. There's some guys out there that can get on there, play a little bit. We'll see how it goes. You do not want me on a basketball court, I'll tell you that much. Cavs. Do you want to know what concerns me about last night, Ryan? I saw the Cavs play at max effort while down Evan Mobley. Sure. But I saw the Cavs have their best shooting night, 14 out of 45. They were hot from behind the arc. They still couldn't win the game. You got out to a double-digit lead, and I just had this just gut feeling. I was like, Boston's coming back. And they did. When you don't have Evan Mobley, that will lead you to have 2 quarters of 35-plus points allowed. Second and third quarters, you give up 38 and 35 points to the Boston Celtics. And I know they filled it up in their own right from behind the arc. Everybody's going to talk about they went 26 to 26 from the free throw line, and Cavs got there 9 times, which talks about aggressiveness. I know JB made some comments about the officiating, maybe, like whatever. I guess the thing is, that is a barometer for me. Just on really how far away the Cavs are. And I say that not in a negative light, not to sit here and bemoan the fact, but really, that's how far away they are. Where if they can play their best, arguably their best game of the season, while still missing Evan Mobley, and I give him credit for that, and I don't think he's playing tomorrow night either, and you still lost. You still lost. Like, that was just such a tough one for me. Because, like, I don't know, Ryan. I don't know. Like, I look at it with the Cavs and I say, they are who they are. And that's been the tack that I've started to take with this team. And I try to get my hopes up for games like that. But listen, they took on Boston, who's not yet lost at home. They're one of the best teams in basketball, and you lost. And you gave them everything you had. That just tells you how far away the gap is. The problem is, it's apparent that if you don't have Evan Mobley, or first off, you don't have Evan Mobley, you're not in a lot of trouble, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But if Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, either one of them have an off game, you have no prayer. You have no prayer of winning. And Max Strus was better. George Niang, one shot. I don't really understand that. Like, you are just deficient in so many different areas that it's hard for me to not start thinking, maybe we're not a top 4 seed. Like, when we entered this season, it was no question they're a top 4 seed. They should get home court advantage. I don't know if I feel that way anymore. And now it's going to start falling back on JB, who was on the hot seat, I think got off the hot seat, and maybe is back on. I don't know. I will tell you, I think the organization is in a calmer place than the fan base. And I try to watch these games and just know that let's just see what the Cavs got. But it's frustrating, man. They should have won that game last night. They played to win the game, and they just still couldn't because there's just that talent gap. And yeah, you had Derek White, who's probably going to be an all-star this year, just unconscious from behind the arc for a little bit. Yes, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are still very good as well. But you just see, like, I tell myself to not get angry with the team, but I get frustrated. I get frustrated. And I'm still not calling for JB's job. I think he's been dealt a crappy hand. You got to deal with some of these injuries. And the rotations, what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? Why is Craig Porter still not playing? I would assume he's injured. Why else would he not be playing? I don't know. But that game last night, what I saw was the Cavs give their best effort, max effort, best shooting game, and they still couldn't win. They still couldn't win. All right. See what they got tomorrow night. I said I thought they were going to split. I thought they were going to get a win. I feel like last night was their chance and they couldn't do it.
Yeah, when I was watching the game, I thought I assumed we were gonna pull it out, and I was like, oh, Matt was right. We were gonna at least pull one from them, but it is frustrating. And like you said, they it's not like you can like pick apart that game and necessarily say they played bad, and that is frustrating because that makes you realize, okay, then what is this team's ceiling?
It feels defeatist, right? Because you sit there and you go, well, we played as best as we could and we still couldn't get it, right? You feel defeated on that. When you play your best game that you possibly could and you still don't get a win. That's the frustrating thing.
20 minutes for Dean Wade last night?
I don't know. Dean Wade, man. What do you want? I guess, again, what do you want him to do? Like, Karis LeVert coming back, okay, fine, 11 off the bench. Can you get angry at the Cavs? Is there a point where you can actually get angry about them? Like, is it too early in the season? Is it just, like, I don't know. I'm not apathetic. Yeah, I care, and I want them to play well, but I just have to understand that maybe they're just not a really good team. Maybe they're just really not a good basketball team.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for Donovan Mitchell, who went off for 29 last night, and Darius Garland for 26, they're playing their games. I ran through the list this morning. They projected all the All-Star teams, right? Donovan Mitchell's an All-Star.
Yeah.
He's going to go to the All-Star game. There's no question. Everybody else, I don't think so.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody else in that list except Donovan Mitchell. He'll make it as a reserve, which is fine. But that's got to be tough for him to say, here I am, shooting 50% from the field, 5 out of 13 from behind the arc, and we still didn't win. Like, there are moments of the game that I see him dribble down the court, doesn't even look at anybody else because he goes, I don't trust anybody else out here. I've got to take this shot. And he was hitting a lot of them. And the thing is, for the Cavs, to have that shooting performance, I guess would be a positive to maybe, be the lid lifter for them. Maybe they can start shooting it a little bit better. But I also know they're a team that if they have to rely on that, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. The thing about the three-point shooting, as I've mentioned with the Cavs, they're shooting it less, but also at a worse percentage. That's not what you want to hear on a team that invested in three-point shooters. But is that their game? Like, I think it comes back to another issue with the Cavs about their identity. So you didn't have Evan Mobley last night. Well, Jared Allen, 14 points, but they had those two, Luka Doncic, and who the hell is that other really tall guy for the Celtics? They have another 7'3" guy on that team. Porzingis is like 7'2".
They don't still have Daniel Tice, do
Luke Cornett is like 7'3" or something like that out there. And that made things really hard on Jared Allen without Evan Mobley being out there. So you had to turn it into a shooting game, which is what the Celtics liked because they obviously were able to hit their threes and get to the free throw line. I'm so weird on the Cavs. I want to get angry, but I can't. I don't know why. I want to blow up and freak out and get upset, and I just can't. And if that's a step towards apathy, then we got problems. That's not where I'm at. I guess you could say Cavs showed up. They played well. Like they didn't get blown out, right? They didn't show up and just lay an egg. They wanted to win that game last night, and that is the biggest problem that I have. You could tell they wanted nothing more than to win that game, and they still couldn't. What happens when you get to the playoffs and you really want to win those games? And don't fool yourself. Oh, they want to win every game. There are games that are bigger than others. Last night was a huge game for the Cavs, more than the Celtics. I think more than the Celtics. And the Cavs came out that way, played to that level, and then the Celtics go, all right, we actually got a game on our hands here. We need to wake up. And they did, and they smoked us. They smoked us in some areas. And they won the basketball game. They did. Now, for tomorrow night, again, same thing. What can I expect? I don't think Evan Mobley's going to play in this game, so you're going to have similar lineups and a similar thing. And also, I give the Cavs credit for showing up on the back end, too, of a back-to-back. That's not an easy thing to do, and they were able to show up. So I give them credit for fighting, but it feels defeatist. It feels like there's no way, even when the Cavs play their best game and give max effort, that they're going to be able to win a game. So I go over to ESPN this morning, and Brian Windhorst went through every team in the NBA and their trade deadline roster holes. I'm sorry, not every team, but championship contending teams. And the NBA trade deadline is 2024. Not 2023. I need a 2024. NBA trade deadline 2024. Why is it so hard for me to find this?
Thursday, February 8th.
Oh, February 8th. Okay, so we have 2 months. You got 2 months. But Brian went through every single team and listed their biggest roster hole. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, a backup point guard. Why? Well, Ricky Rubio is still out, mental health, and Ty Jerome's ankle injury have left the Cavs a guard short. What they have to trade. So the Cavs are not permitted to trade any of their first-round picks. They have limited trade assets on the roster, with the expiring contract of Isaac Okoro being the most significant. The chances of a significant trade, according to Windy, unlikely. He said the Cavs below the tax apron could be a buyout destination. And again, that's 2 months away. So you're telling me that I've got problems on this team. I'm not going to address them for 2 months, and even then when I do, it's a buyout candidate. They got to get this right. Again, here I am. I don't care about the Cavs. I'll talk to me and I get upset. And I get upset.
Right, we're 13-11.
I
hanging
guess.
in there.
All right, let's get over to ESPN. Let's do the power rankings here. So maybe this will make me feel better. I doubt it very much. So let's get to ESPN. They do their power rankings every Wednesday. Here we are. Power rankings, Lakers, Warriors, Bucks, all of them. Let's start at the top. Best team in the NBA, the aforementioned Boston Celtics. They have stayed there right at number 1. Surprisingly, Minnesota 2, Philly 3, Milwaukee 4, Oklahoma City 5, Denver 6, Orlando 7, Lakers 8, Pacers 9, Dallas Mavericks are at 10. I scroll down to number 15. No, I'm sorry, number 16. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who actually did go up a spot, probably because of that big win over Orlando. Dave McMenamin's right up. In the span of the last 6 days, the Cavs and Magic have played 2 games against each other. Cleveland won the first by 10. Orlando won the second by 10. If the playoffs started today, the number 2 seeded Magic would host the number 7 Cavaliers in a matchup that just shows how quickly things can change in the East. This time last season, Cleveland was the up-and-coming darling, and Orlando was still in rebuild mode. If Cleveland can continue to lead on Donovan Mitchell, averaging 27 points per game, and Darius Garland with 6 assists per game, it should enter a 4-game home stretch upcoming with some confidence. He's talking about right after this Boston series where you get Atlanta, Houston, a couple other teams that you should feel like you should be able to beat. After Boston, you have Atlanta, Houston, Utah, and New Orleans. Okay. All right. So there's your 4-game stretch to get right. But tomorrow night for the Cavs, I want to see the same thing. Play with effort, hit your shots, and I don't know if I feel good, which maybe is a good thing about the Cavs, but I don't feel good. I thought they were going to split with the Boston Celtics. I thought last night was their shot. Last night was really their opportunity. Kind of missed it. But we'll see what happens out here tomorrow night. Back to the Browns. One update, our Twitter question this morning, at Matt Fontana Show. Are the Browns' injuries making it a distraction for you to enjoy the playoffs? We are at 50-50, Ryan. Yes and no. Cujo tweets, as a Browns fan, I have not enjoyed this season. It's hard to root for Deshaun. Chubb is gone. There's a dainty elf on the field. Oh, you don't like the elf. And I haven't had fun this season. Matt tweets, injuries are a part of the game. Let the games play out and enjoy each week. Not too long ago, we had 2 seasons where 1-31. That's what enjoy. Matt, we got to have higher expectations than that. This is not me, Matt. This is Matt Wood on Twitter. We got to have higher expectations than that. Because you did, when people were healthy, which is a hard time to remember in this season when you had relative health, you played to a pretty good level. I'm not going to throw away the Baltimore and San Francisco wins. Those wins were incredible. You have also put yourself in a playoff position. Why would I not have that? I can't just be happy with that. I can't just be happy, well, we're not 131 anymore. And that is another issue that I have with this team. This was supposed to be the season. This was supposed to be the season. And it's not. And I know that I'm projecting that the Browns aren't going to go to the AFC Championship game. But this was supposed to be the payoff season. The payoff for Deshaun Watson, the payoff for all the team. Like, you kept this team together. From all the talented players that you had on this team, you kept a good core together. And this was supposed to be your payoff season. And you have dealt with one of the most incredible rash of injuries that I have ever seen. I can't not be upset by that. I just can't be. And the frustrating part is that has nothing to do with how they drafted or how they've coached or how they've played. It's just bad luck. 1-31 was not injuries. That was bad players with bad coaching. All the bad years for the Cleveland Browns, you almost injuries. I don't want to say are easier, but the harder thing to do is build an NFL team. The hardest thing to do is put it all together. And you did it, and now the injuries crop up. I would have loved to have this streak when we were 1-31. Oh, yeah, who cares, right? Just snake bitten. Snake bitten. And I'm not chalking this season up. There's still football to be played, and I think winning a playoff game is pretty much like going to the Super Bowl, in my opinion, at this point now. But, yeah, it's distracting for me that I'm not able to enjoy a season that we really should have been. And it'll always be a question of what if. What if Nick Chubb hadn't gone down? What if Deshaun Watson? Oh, I don't know Watson. We talked a lot about him and Flacco yesterday. And I even read some article. I'm not saying they were listening to the show, but then all of a sudden people prop up some articles like, well, how does Joe Flacco impact Deshaun Watson? It does. It does. Because I see this play with Joe Flacco, and I just question, did you really need to spend $230 million on Deshaun Watson? Did you really need to go spend all those picks on him when you found this guy in the scrap heap? Probably not. But you also, another thing, you found like this diamond in the rough, right? With how bad it's gone, you were actually given a little bit of a reprieve. You were given a little bit here because you found Joe Flacco. And they're capitalizing on it. But the thing is, how it impacts the team, too. That's got to weigh on a lot of those players in that locker room when they sit there and they go, what the hell, man? Like, again? It's frustrating for you and me. Imagine showing back up every day at that facility and you're down another guy and you're down another guy and you're down another. And there's the speak of, oh, we have faith in this guy and we trust him. They know better than us. They know in that locker room who can play and who can't and what they have to change to overcome the deficiencies. Again, the mental fortitude of this team is incredible. The resiliency that this team has put forth, but eventually it's got to weigh on them. Eventually it's got to get to a point that, I don't say a breaking point, but they're close. Roberto tweets, absolutely not, that it's not distracting from it. Michael on Twitter says, it's actually enhanced his joy. So I would imagine that he's talking about,
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it.
I'm actually really even happier that we have gone through the hell that we've gone through and we're still here.
It's an optimistic side.
I like that.
I do like that.
Ken tweets, no, and only because Stefanski is in his... Oh, you mentioned this tweet from Ken earlier, right? Stefanski's in his bag right now. Yeah, I mean, where'd you be without him? Seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the best comments you can make about a head coach is if you ask yourself, where would you be without him? Right? You would say that about some other coaches. We all know who. And you go, you'd be in a better place, right? Like, where would you be without Hugh Jackson? Or Freddie Kitchens didn't get that job. Where would you be, right? But you ask, where would the 49ers be without Kyle Shanahan? Where would the Lions be without Dan Campbell? Where would the Dolphins be without Mike McDaniel? Well, that's a spicy question. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know.
Maybe beat an actual team.
Maybe better. I don't know. But you know, without question, where would you be without Kevin Stefanski? You'd be in a lot of trouble.
Matt, let me ask you
You'd be
this.
in a lot of trouble.
That begs a good question. I know we talked about this a few weeks ago with the whole narrative of Kevin Stefanski and the Coach of the Year conversation. I think maybe the last time we talked about that was probably 2 weeks. Where do you sit on that now? Are you even more strong? Like, you even standing on that?
So I would believe that. Let's go to typical. Because, okay, I'm going to do this without looking yet. I would imagine today that Dan Campbell is not the favorite anymore. I think he'll still get it. My vote would honestly go to Kyle Shanahan. Like, that's just me. All right, I don't want to guess. Let me guess here. All right, futures, awards. Oh, they don't have Coach of the Year on here for some reason. All right, anyway. Can you pull up Coach of the Year odds for me, please? Thank you. Here's who's in the conversation, I think. Dan Campbell. I think Mike McDaniel is still in the conversation.
Oh, Matt, I just looked at this list, and I already know who's going to win it because the narrative's so right there.
DeMeco Ryans?
Yeah. Up-and-coming coach, turns it around.
Yeah,
but that's how the award goes.
I know it does. There's two people that win the award. Yeah. Your team is the best team in football, and there's no question about it, or you took a bad team and you turned it around. I would give it to Kyle Shanahan. Something, actually, again, I talked about with Andy yesterday. I think there should be an AFC and NFC Coach of the Year. I truly think that.
See, then that stinks, but that is the narrative.
So who's
right?
the favorite?
It's according to Vegas Insider, these three coaches are all tied for first with plus 325.
All right, let me guess. DeMeco Ryans.
Yep.
Dan Campbell.
Yep.
Kyle Shanahan? No. Not Mike McDaniels.
It
not
is
Nick
Mike McDaniel.
It is?
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't either.
But my point, what I was going to say was, for that reason, how that award is so narrative-driven, they have Shane Steichen above Kyle Shanahan, Sean Payton, and Stefanski.
Well, yeah. I mean, so your point is well taken there, that they are talking about you took a crappy team. And I'm not saying that Shane Steichen hasn't done a great job because they're in a playoff team with losing their quarterback.
Certainly not a Stefanski job.
I don't know, man. And that's the hard thing. They do that award. I guess if you make the playoffs, then that's kind of where it is. But you also realize that there's some really bad coaches.
Perfect transition, because I'm going to flip this on your head real quick. There's 4 coaches that are all tied for the least possible odds at plus 50,000.
Belichick.
Yeah.
Not Jonathan Gannon.
No.
I'm trying to think of really bad teams. Oh, Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron Rivera. Brandon Staley.
Yep, and one more.
Frank Reich, too soon. Sorry. Man, okay, AFC or NFC?
NFC. Man. He formerly won Coach of the Year not too long ago.
Brian Dable?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd give him a little credit, I guess. Look at Tommy DeVito, man. DeVito.
Tommy Cutlets.
It's starting to wear a little thin on me on this. Like, I know the NFL is this way where they just jump on. For a while, it was Josh Dobbs, and now it's Tommy DeVito. I've had about enough.
Hey, I'll take Tommy Cutlets over Taylor Swift.
I get big Taylor Swift news today. We'll get to a little bit later in time.
Was there?
Well, it's big for Time Hop that we'll get to a little bit later.
Okay.
So, yeah, keep that locked in. I'm about done with Tommy. Again, he's playing well, but I'm all for it. But, like, I'm about done with Tommy. But anyway, that's crazy that he's down that low. Stefanski won't win it. I think he deserves credit for it. He's doing a great job, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? All right, speaking of Belichick, we'll get to him in the morning update. Big news coming out about him. We'll get more back into the Browns coming up. Their strength of schedule, where they stack up against the rest of the playoff teams contending, on how easy their schedule is on the way out. Got some more things to dive into with the Cavs as well. So keep it locked here. Big play. Folks, we bet on Tipico. That is the place to place your wagers as well. Download the app. Deposit and bet $25 on anything you want, and you will get $100 in bonus bets. You can jump on our boosts that we do for the Cavs every week. We do boosts for Thursday. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. Here's what you do. If you haven't bet with us yet, download the app, put that 25 in and bet. Big play 100 is the code. Gamble responsibly, 1-800-GAMBLER. Then tomorrow, we will have a Cavs boost and maybe also a Thursday night boost, just for the show. Now, I know there will be boosts on Tipico for both of those games anyway. Tomorrow, it's a great game as a Cavs fan and a football fan. Place a couple wagers here and there. $5 when you need it. $10 when you need it. And you get those bonus bets, which I just love being able to use on Tipico. So sign up, use that code BIGPLAY100 when you do, and you get all the sports. You get football, you get basketball, you got hockey growing, everything. Everything is all up there for you at Tipico. Super easy to use. And I do think the thing that sets them apart is their boost. You can go right to the boost page right now. Ryan, today, there are 10 boosts that I can place a bet on. 2 boosts already for tomorrow night for Thursday Night Football. A couple of hockey boosts. A couple NBA boosts. Champions League boost. They get college boost. It's all there, folks. Big Play 100 is your code. Place that at Tipico and get your bets. I have 3 open bets at the moment, Ryan. Would you dare guess what my 3 open bets are on Tipico?
Is it one's your Dak MVP?
One
is your
Saints win the South.
Saints win the South, and is the other Miles?
No.
Defensive?
No. Oh, yes. That actually, I cashed that one out.
Oh, did you make money off it?
No.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm not feeling good about it anymore, so I cashed that out. And you can always cash out. My other one is a 2-pick parlay for the college football playoff. Alabama money line and Washington plus 4.5. That's my other one.
I like that.
I do too. That's why I placed it. So again, they got the futures. You got your open. You can certainly cash out as you go as well. And the other thing too, you just click on the live tab. Obviously, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Are there any sports live right now on Tipico? No, I lied. If you really are degenerate, you can go place on tennis right now. Alice Robbie versus Alana Smith. Alice Robbie minus 833. I'll place a bet to win $1 on her. Seriously, I just placed a live bet on tennis right now. Bet placed. Hopefully she holds on. She's already up 1-0. I guess she's a big favorite. You can go bet on the WTA 125 Limones France women's singles. Go bet
Nice.
right now on Tipico if you're a big tennis fan. All right, let's get to the morning update. We got to talk Belichick. Comes your way next. Hour 2 upon us. Stay with us right here on Big Play. All right, let's get to all the stories you got to know. Bill Belichick on his way out in New England. More things coming out. We'll see on that. Let's get to the morning update. Ryan, take it away.
Alrighty, well, not me, excuse me. The Browns, however, announced that Jed Wills
You
underwent
can announce it yourself.
arthroscopic knee surgery, and he will miss the remainder of the season. This comes after Jed was first placed on the IR on November 7th.
I mean, the concern would be you needed a second surgery. I know it was just a scope, but what a bad idea picking up that fifth-year option was. And at the time, you said for $12 million or $13 or whatever it was, that's a going rate for an average starting left tackle in the NFL. That's kind of what Jed Wills is. Now he's injured. Now you have maybe found the heir apparent at left tackle in DeJuan Jones. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. This offseason, and now it's even the worst case scenario because whatever trade value you might have been able to get is gone. It's out the window. You would have hoped that Jed Wills played really well and then you could move on from him. You don't have that now. Andrew Berry's got a decision to make. What are you doing with Jack Conklin and what are you doing with Jed Wills? Because you know DeJuan Jones is going to be your starting tackle at some place here on this offensive line. I mean, it sucks for Jed, and really, you needed him to come back. I think Christian's played fine. I am a little concerned about James Hudson on that right side, but you needed Jed Wills to come back. You did, and now he's not. That sucks. And again, the future, like, I know surgeries. People just, that's the other problem, man. You get surgeries, people just assume, oh, you'll come back fine, right? Same thing with Watson. Oh, he'll come back fine. Okay. I sure hope so. So, tough offseason upcoming for the Browns and Jed Wills, certainly.
Cavs fall to the Boston Celtics yesterday in Boston. That makes the Cavaliers 13-11 on the year. Meanwhile, the Celtics are red-hot 11-0 at home now. But the good news for Cleveland is they do have a chance to redeem themselves as Boston comes to town December 14th.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to read too much into that game. I try not to. I'm frustrated mostly because I saw the Cavs play one of their better games of the year, and they still lost. Now, you went up against probably the best team in basketball right now. That's kind of what it is. I also have to remember it's December. It is December 13th. There is plenty of time. They got a lot of games left, but it's the big picture of, I will tell you, Ryan, I am fighting off changing my expectations for this team. I don't want to do it. I want to keep saying that they're a top 4 seed and they're going to win a playoff series, but it's really hard right now. It is really hard for me right now to not want to change that. I think they might just be have to go on the road for a playoff series and might get bounced in the first round again. And then the hell that will spin us off into the offseason about a Mitchell trade and if JB's even still here and who's getting what contract. Like, I want to avoid that is really what I want to avoid. And to do that, you got to go win a playoff series. I try to tell you I don't care about the Cavs, and I do, and I'm frustrated. I am.
The Patriots and Robert Kraft have reportedly already decided to move on from Bill Belichick in 2024. The Patriots are just one of 2 teams that are already eliminated from playoff contention.
I mean, that came out, what did they say, right after the Germany game, and everybody said it at that time. The question is, how do they approach this? Because according to this report, it will be a mutual separation, which I always joke when coaches get fired. Was it a parting of ways? Was it a relieved of duties? Was this a mutual decision? Or were they straight up fired? Like, it's always funny to see how they put that in a release to say that the coach isn't coming back. For Belichick, he wants to chase Don Shula's record. The question is, would you want him for your franchise? Not here. I'm good with Kevin Stefanski. But imagine that you are any other franchise in football. And you ask yourself, coaches or franchises that you know for a fact need a coach. It's going to be the Chargers. It's going to be Washington. It's going to be, I don't think.
Probably Los Angeles.
The Chargers, yeah. I don't think the Raiders. I think you give Antonio Pierce that job. So you ask yourself, let's just say Washington, right? Would you want to bring Bill Belichick in? And you would have to say he's coming in just to coach, because I think the downfall of Bill Belichick has been downfall of him being a general manager more than as the coach. But, like, does he still command respect? You'd say he's Bill Belichick. He's arguably the greatest coach in NFL history. How much damage was done, though, when people sit there and they say, you realize it was a lot of Tom Brady doing that? You know? Like, of all the hires, would you not rather roll the dice on a young, up-and-coming guy?
Yes, yeah, I definitely would.
Like, I think Belichick's not going to have a spot. I would struggle to, if I was the owner of a team, it'd be nice to have billions of dollars. If I was the owner of a team, I'd be like, absolutely not. We're not hiring Bill Belichick. Why? What does he bring? What does he got left? Nothing. I'm not doing it. So he might find himself out of a spot. And then you look at the Patriots and you say, is that a desirable position to be in? Their cop-out will be you just elevate Bill O'Brien, right? He's calling plays there. I'm assuming that he went back there because he knew that this was waiting in the wings, so to speak. I think you just elevate Bill O'Brien, put him in there. It's also a really hard position to be in. We've said this before on the show. You don't ever want to be the guy that replaces a legend. You want to be the guy that replaces the guy that replaces the legend. Now, here's the funny thing. Can I get you a take on that?
Yes, please.
The guy replacing the legend is Bill Belichick. Think about it. It's gone so bad. This is not a guy that is going to get put up on a chariot and up on a throne and carried out of town. People want him gone. So now you enter a situation, it's a little more wide open. As opposed to if it had been if it had been Bill Belichick at the height of his power and he retired or got fired, that would be an unsavory position to come in. That's not the same Bill Belichick. It's not. So you just elevate Bill O'Brien. I don't think it'd be that bad. I really don't. But he'll move on. And I wonder, let me ask you this. Do you think he'll have a job next year? Do you think Bill Belichick will have a job next year?
I'm going to say yes. I don't know where that would be. It could just kind of, I don't know. Well, I'll put it this way. If Bill Belichick truly does want to continue to coach and to get that record like you think he does, then I would say he's going to be coaching next year.
Can I completely scratch out LA? I don't get the vibe of Belichick to the Chargers.
He doesn't seem like an LA guy.
What if Tennessee? Because what if Vrabel leaves? I want to talk some Ohio State coming up. I got to take on Ohio State coming up. But if Vrabel leaves, there's an opening. Tennessee seems to fit. I don't know why. I could see that. Could you not?
I could see it.
A little bit? Huh. I'm going to say he will not be coaching next year. Okay. I'm going to say that. I don't think he'll be coaching next year.
Is that because you don't think he'll have an opening? Or
I don't think he'll have an opening. Okay. I think he wants to do it, and he can't take a year off. He's 72 or something. Close. Something like that. He can't take a year off. And you know that it just burns him that at the end of the day, he might just have to chalk it up and say, I ain't going to catch Shula. He needs 17 games to get the all-time record of playoffs and regular season. Regular season, he's even further behind. But in playoffs and regular season, he needs 17 games. So I think tie or 17 either is to tie or to pass Don Shula. He ain't getting that. There's no way.
Well, Draymond Green was ejected in the third quarter after he swung and hit Yusuf Nurkic on the head. This is now his third suspension, and we're
at league review now.
We're not even halfway through the season, and now it's league review time, and a lot of people are calling for them to step up and get rid of this crap.
Well, and the thing is, it's so weird to see that the parallels between officiating in the NBA and the officiating in the NFL, they're at really bad spots. Now, did Nikola Jokic deserve to get thrown out of that game last night? No, and that is egregious. But it's Draymond, bro, and he knows this. Draymond, you have no room to bitch. You have no room to complain about the NBA coming after you because you have made a career out of this. Stop it. Why? Say what you want about Draymond Green. He is a Hall of Famer. He's going to go to the Naismith Hall of Fame one day, which is pretty crazy for a second-round draft pick, for the money that he has made, for how good he is defensively. What I do not understand is why Steve Kerr has not sat him down and gone, knock it the blank off. The issue is that comes across poorly to the rest of the team when you're telling a guy that really this is what he does and what he's made his game on. You're telling him to change. And also, then what value does he bring? Like, that cannot be a fun label for Draymond Green.
I got a theory on that, man.
Good, please. I'm all for a theory. Did we bring over is it here yet, the conspiracy theory thing?
No, it's not.
We got to bring it over. Come on now.
But I feel like maybe it's because Dylan Brooks is obviously taking over that national role in the league as the villain. Maybe Draymond wants to get that title back.
What? The same thing with Dylan Brooks. And I know that these guys were not first overall picks, and they had to find their way in the NBA. They had to scrap out and fight and claw to get their little piece of who they are and why they're relevant in the NBA. That cannot be fun. That can't be fun to be the most hated guy in the NBA. It just can't be. I guess they revel in it. They got paid a lot of money to do that. And your theory is sound. I will listen to your theory, sure. But now, and the Warriors, who again, I know just won the title a couple years ago. I've never understood how they've been able to keep it together post that, era, LeBron, Steph, and KD and all that kind of stuff. I think the Warriors stink. I really do. And now he's hurting the team. Like, if this is what he's got to do, Steve Kerr's got to just be so bothered by having to deal with this throughout his entire career. Hey, man, you have a target on your back. Did you deserve it? Yeah, probably, because you welcomed it. And that's who you are. The NBA is going to be all over you. They'll suspend him, and he'll get fined again. And then then he can keep on this tact of the most suspended and most fined player in the NBA. And if he wants to roll in that, then that's fine. Power to you, I guess.
Well, Matt, I had no idea that this was even a possible thing, but I saw Adam Schefter tweeted this morning the NFL could award a 2024 regular season game to Brazil
I saw that,
as
yeah.
soon as today. How do you feel about that?
Listen, I understand it. They want to grow the game globally. They're in Europe a lot. But Brazil, where I know much of nothing, is that not a hotbed for soccer? Don't they really only care about soccer down there?
Yeah, they love soccer.
I know. So what's the point? And then, and I might be way off base on this. And I'm just asking the question: is Brazil safe to go to?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I have no idea. I've never been to South America. I've been to Europe. I've been to Europe twice.
That's a very fair question.
But like, you're talking about a league that is security is a high priority for them. Very much so. And you're going places. Do you want to know what? Honestly, this is really weird of me, but you know what I thought of? It's sometimes not even safe to eat food in Brazil. And what I'm talking about is this. I'm a big MMA fan, right? Huge fight this weekend. Huge title fights this weekend. There have been fighters that have gotten popped for PEDs by eating tainted meat in South America and other places in Japan and Asia too. It's not just a South America thing. But like, my thing for the NFL would be is if you took a team down there, and I'm sure the NFL has vetted this. I'm sure that this was not a willy-nilly decision and they just go, hey, we'll go to Brazil. I'm sure security is on the forefront, but that was just my biggest thing, man. They're going to be there for a couple of days, if not a week. And can you, again, security, all that kind of stuff. And I'm making Brazil out to be some third world country. I know it's not. It's a developed country. I understand that. But Brazil?
Yeah, I of course, Google knows everything, right? So I just
Of
Googled,
course.
is Brazil dangerous? It says violent crime, including mugging, armed robbery, and carjacking is common. These occur often more in large cities. Don't go out alone at night. Avoid isolated areas, including beaches.
Dude, I can tell you that about Cleveland. I can say the same thing about Cleveland. And I love our town and I love our city. And every city's got problems and warts, and you try your best. That's any city. That's any major city. But I'm just talking about the NFL is outside now of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
They're going somewhere new. I'll tell you this, because the other weird thing is we don't get our 9 a.m. game. Because where Brazil is, isn't there some crazy thing that Brazil is further east than New York? Or it's something like that. Like, you ever play that game where it's like, which city is further east? And there's some that you're like, there's no way ever that you would ever think that Brazil is further east than New York. And I'm pretty sure, I think by a wide margin it is. Yeah.
I'm looking it up.
Like I guess the average person, you just think it's all, perpendicular. It's all right in a row. Like, no, it's where. So we'll get an 11 a.m. game? I mean, part of the draw for the London game is that you get to wake up and watch football at 9:30 on the East Coast. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to answer myself here, Ryan. Do you care about the NFL growing globally?
No.
I don't either.
I mean,
I really do not care.
There's no advancement that would better my viewing or experience for football.
The NFL would tell you you're crazy because the more money they can make, the better viewing for you and the better for me and the more money for the players. And I guess it all trickles down. The thing is, with Europe, they tried to grab on because they felt like there were hotbeds to get a foothold there to get fans. What does the NFL want? They want London fans to become a fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They want the London fans to see Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes play football. Okay. To then do what? Buy the NFL Red Zone package or buy a jersey. Sure, I get all that. And I'm not saying that won't happen in Brazil. But another thing that was on the list for the NFL was fans traveling. And fans saying, oh, I'll go watch my team. When the Browns played in London several years ago, I knew plenty of people that said, this is great. I can go to London. And the same thing, London to go, yeah, come on. That's hotels, and that's tickets, and that's travel, and that's all commerce that is good for our area. Same thing happening to Brazil. And that's why people, maybe Browns fans, hey, I'd love to go. I'd love to go. Here's the question. How long it is until we get a game in Japan? Yeah. How long are we until we get one over in Asia? All interesting questions.
On Mars.
It's funny that you say that. You don't even know how much you just related back to something in Time Hop.
Ooh.
Very close. There's your hint for one of the movies coming up. Very funny. Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Idea,
well done. It's a funny movie. It's a great movie.
Okay.
An ensemble cast. That'll be my hint. We'll get to that coming up with Time Hop in just a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, they want to go to Brazil. Power to them. Me as a fan, as a parent now, I don't think I'd ever travel international for a game. I mean, I guess there's a novelty to it. And, you know, they have to build the stadium or they have to overtake a soccer stadium and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't really see it. All right, great stuff in the morning update, Ryan. All right, we mentioned some Ohio State. Can I get a takeout real quick?
Please do. I feel like you need to.
I do. Here's my take. I do not care at all who's playing in this game for Ohio State. So this happened over the last couple of days, and I get that Ohio State is on this PR spin all of a sudden that, oh, hey, Jack Sawyer is playing in the game. I'm not ripping Jack Sawyer. Why would he not play in that game? He's not Nick Bosa. And I know when Jack Sawyer got to Columbus, people were like, oh, my God, the great next pass rusher. I'm not quite there. Okay, Emeka Ibuka is going to play in this game. Again, why? I don't know. And then there's all this Marvin Harrison stuff like he hasn't decided. I don't care. And maybe I'm a bad fan, but a bowl game that is not, and that's really how I've been conditioned. If it's a bowl game that's not the college football playoff, dude, I barely watch it. I don't care. I'll probably place a wager on it. I'm sure, I don't even know if we'll beat Missouri. What world do we live in that we don't know if we will beat Missouri? And I guess I could watch, be like, hey, let's see what Devin Brown's got. Let's see if he's our starting quarterback moving forward.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do, though. I wonder
It's
who
got
they're
to be
going to
Devin
start.
Brown.
Or Keenholz.
Yeah, throw him in there. See what you got. The new hot thing out is Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Dylan Gabriel's gone.
Washington State? Is he?
Yes. He was, again, in true, and then I'm not ripping Cam Ward. He was somewhere else, too, I'm pretty sure.
Another DJ Ungulele?
Oh, yeah. Well, he played at Incarnate Word. So I guess that really doesn't count. Just his freshman year at FCS level. And then he went to Washington State. So he played 2 years at Incarnate, and then now he's been at Washington State for 2 years. Again, I'm not ripping Cam Ward. I fixed the NCAA. I told you what it was. Here's the fix for the NCAA. From your graduating year in high school, which is important enough for the NBA to recognize and also the NFL because you have to be 3 years removed from your college or high school graduating year. From your high school graduating year, and this goes for all sports in the NCAA. Here's what you do. Ryan, you graduated high school in 2023, this past year. You go to college. You have 2023, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That is 5 years to get 4 years worth of eligibility. You get a one-time transfer, and if you get redshirted or you get injured, there's your 1 year. You got 5 years to play your sport for 4 years of eligibility. If you get redshirted, that doesn't count. You get a medical redshirt, that doesn't count. You tear your ACL 3 times, I'm sorry. I am really sorry. You don't get to play college volleyball anymore. You don't get to run cross country because you had to have 3 years worth of shoulder surgeries, okay? That's how you fix this. That's it. 5 years of eligibility, one-time transfer, and if you even want to leave the graduate transfer thing, that's fine. And if you want to transfer again, you are more than welcome to, but you got to sit out a year. And however you want to play that, it's up to you. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, Cam Ward's the new big one, mostly because you've missed out on Riley Leonard, who's going to Notre Dame now. You missed out on Dylan Gabriel. He's going to Oregon. So Cam Ward seems to be the next big up. But as it's come out over the last couple days at Ohio State, dude, I don't care. I will tell you, I will barely watch that game. I don't even know what day it is. It's the Cotton Bowl, right? Down in Jerry's World.
Yeah. Jerry's World.
Great. I'll have it on in the background. I don't care who's going or not. People are trying to connect dots here, though, to see what's going on. Again, I don't believe anything.
We haven't talked about Chip Traynham.
Chip Traynham transfers?
Kentucky.
Yeah, he's gone. I taught it sounds like Kyle McCord. You see, apparently they got a $900,000 car dealership lined up for Kyle McCord to go to Nebraska. Did you see the other thing that I saw, man? About Dylan Raiola? Did I tell you about him?
You told me about
him.
Yeah.
Dylan Raiola is the number 1 quarterback next year. He was committed to Ohio State. Then he committed to Georgia. And now apparently he is hot for Nebraska. There was a post on a message board of Georgia fans asking if anybody worked at the airport to screw his flight up to Nebraska. Not crash the plane. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about delay it or just make it a really bad experience so he doesn't go to Nebraska. Seriously, that was the thing.
That's crazy.
That's how crazy it is.
Wow.
That's how crazy it is out there. There are psychos on that recruiting trail and the message boards for college football, but that's another
How would you go about delaying a plane?
I didn't fuel up all the way. There's something wrong with the wing. Hang on, I better take a look here. Oh, the tire's flat. That's going to take us 4 hours. And we're at an airport, Ryan. I don't know. Go ask that guy over there. How do you delay a plane?
Oh, yeah, we are at an airport.
We're at an airport. Pilot had some bad bean burrito last night. I don't know. It is what it is. Whatever. Delay the plane the best you can. That's seriously how psycho the people can be. But anyway, like, so Kyle McCord's got like a 900,000, so we can go to Nebraska. But the thing with Ohio State is, I don't care who's playing in that game. I'm not going to watch it. Travion Henderson better not. If Marvin Harrison, frankly, better not. Denzel Burke better not. I'm shocked that Emeka Ibuka said he's going to play in that game. I am really shocked that he said he was going to play in that game. But Ohio State's on this spin right now where they're trying to hold on to this and, hey, watch this game, and these guys are still playing. Ohio State is just, they're nothing until the next big news that I'll care about is when they find their quarterback. Because I do believe that they're going to get a transfer one. And it might be Cam Ward. I don't know. Would that do it for you? Did that get you back on the Ohio? I know you're an Ohio State fan, but would that do it for you, Cam Ward?
I would rather have Malik Murphy from Texas, to be honest. And he kind of fits the mold more of.
What about Arch?
True.
Everybody thinks he's leaving now.
I mean,
why would Quinn Ewers go back?
Is that what the rumor is?
The rumor is he's going to go back, and that's why Arch would want out.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they still have to play their game because the other thing, Quinn Ewers is not obviously he's not played his final game, so he hasn't declared anything. And I think Quinn Ewers, I saw another NFL mock draft this morning. I didn't click on it because I just don't care because, again, we don't have a pick. But Matt Miller did his round 1 predictions today. You want to run through it just for fun?
Yeah. Can I guess?
Sure.
Oh, wait. Yeah, this is mock draft?
Mock draft, yeah. Number 1, Chicago Bears.
Okay, so this is assuming they didn't trade the pick.
No trades.
So then I'm going to guess Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams is the number 1 pick. Number 1 pick. Tough decision to make given while Justin Fields, but he's played since the thumb injury, blah, blah, blah. Williams makes being available an easier call. He's a big play waiting to happen. Best overall prospect. Restarting the clock at the position both in salary and development timeline might be a good idea. That'd be smart, I guess. Number 2, New England Patriots.
New England Patriots, they got to be going quarterback. Drake May.
Drake May is correct. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm going to guess they're just going to take the best player on the board, stick with Kyler, Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is correct. Number 4, New York Giants.
Okay, so this was kind of where it gets dicey. Did they take a tackle?
No.
Defense or offense?
Offense.
There's no way they take a running back?
No.
Jaden Daniels?
Jaden Daniels.
Wow, okay, wow.
Heisman. Jaden Daniels. Giants are financially invested in Daniel Jones, but he simply hasn't been good. Fair enough. What are you going to do? You're going to have a $40 million guy on the bench? Or you say, hey, man, you're starting in Jaden Daniels. You are not playing this year. I could listen to that. Number 5, Washington, that kid out of Penn State, the offensive tackle.
Okay.
Titans, an edge guy out of Alabama. J.J. McCarthy goes 7 to the Raiders.
Ew.
Why? Just because?
I don't think J.J. McCarthy's worth
I don't think he's good at all.
Yeah, what the heck?
I don't think he's good at all. Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, going 8. Joe Alt, the offensive lineman of Notre Dame, goes 9. Brock Bowers goes 10 to the Chargers. Ooh, I actually really like that pick. Ooh, I really like that for the Chargers. Anyway, the reason that I brought it up was because I wanted to see if Matt Miller would have Quinn Ewers in the first round. And Ryan, he doesn't. Because he writes, he expects him to go back.
Wow.
He expects him to go back. And in fact, at I think the McCarthy pick, he wrote about it. Let me scroll back up here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so J.J. McCarthy, 7 to the Raiders. And Matt Miller writes, With Shedeur Sanders and Quinn Ewers expected to return to college, McCarthy is the lone first-round caliber passing quarterback remaining on the board. Again, behind Daniels, behind Caleb Williams, and Drake May. So he assumes Quinn Ewers is going to go back. So if he goes back, does Arch Manning really want to sit 2 years? And if you're Steve Sarkisian, what a hard decision that would be. Because here's what you're facing. Whatever they do in the playoffs with Quinn Ewers, if you turn things back over, well, I guess Arch Manning could leave after next year, right? Because that'd be 3 years. Oh, no. He just got there this year.
Still said, yeah.
So that, okay, so my point still holds. That if you think Arch Manning is all of that, then you say, hey, man, Quinn Ewers, we appreciate you. Hit the road, bud. Because we got 2 years of Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Where if we play you for 1 year, Arch Manning is going to leave. That's a tough decision for Steve Sarkisian. And Quinn Ewers going to hit the transfer portal for the 17th time.
Imagine going to the playoff and then having to go to the transfer portal.
What if he transfers in between the games? I'm just kidding. And that's a tough thing for Texas. That's a really hard decision to be made. But yeah, Arch Manning. And again, that's a tough game to play for Ohio State. I'm just grasping at straws here because I think if you're Arch Manning and you look at Ohio State, you're like, no way. That's, I think, the biggest problem with Ohio State. And I know that they have the number 2 or 3 recruiting class for next year. But if you look at this team, what as a quarterback would you look at and go, yeah, I want to go play there? You're losing all of your offensive weapons. You really don't have much coming back. I don't know. So, Cam Ward, he's a good player, but he's not Arch. Arch Manning would almost, he could pick whoever he wants. You know what I mean? He's a higher level. Cam Ward's got to almost take who he's getting offered by and go from there. And that's not me crapping on Cam Ward, future Ohio State quarterback. But I'm just saying, Arch Manning, almost any team would make that decision to bring him in. And I'd like Ohio State to be in that conversation. I just don't know if they will. All right, let's catch our break. We come back. We'll do Time Hop. We'll run through some movies. We got a lot of movies today, ironically.
Awesome.
Great. We have a couple Heisman things, a couple of Browns games we'll get to. And then, of course, we'll dive back into the Browns. I still have not yet gotten to, but we will. Browns playoff. Or the playoff team's strongest schedules on the way out. I'll tell you where the Browns come in that, and we'll dive into a Time Hop. We'll do it all next right here on Big Play. Stay with us. All right, let's jump into a little bit of time up. 13th of December, the date. What happened this day in history? I shall tell you, including 3 years ago today. Pretty big one, Ryan. A report that the Indians will be changing their name. It's a great question. Again, basically 3 years in. How do you feel about the Guardians name?
I like it. And
Okay.
for all the old heads that hate the name, whatever. It's like, I get it. It's history. That's the team you grew up in, you love. But who cares? It's still the same franchise. It's just a different name. I get, like, it's like, and I could go into this whole thing. It's just, it's such a stupid waste of energy for people to be still so upset with it that they try to make it their personality. It's like, come on, just accept it.
Here's the thing. I said this when it was getting changed. It was all about the new name. It was all about if you got a cool new name, then it would be something different. People hate change. People find things to get angry about. That's just the world that we live in. And I understood, and hey, they changed the name. Okay, that's fine. I will tell you, though, 3 years in, I'm not in as on the Guardians as I thought I was. Like, when they first announced it, I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, okay, this actually really works. 3 years in.
Better than Spiders.
I don't know what it's better than. I really don't. And that's my problem is I didn't have a better option. I was the worst person, is that I don't like this, but I don't have a better option. I'll just tell you what I don't like. It's fine. You know, I don't know.
I'll tell you what it's better than, though, Matt. I saw a little while ago, and I'm pretty sure it was legit, that if Cleveland was to get an MLS team, the name, like one of the top names they wanted to do was the Cleveland Cleats. And I was like, that is the dumbest
Like the
name.
bar?
Like Cleats.
I love Cleats the bar. Yeah.
I was like, that is
it's sponsored by them. I'm all for that.
That is the dumbest name I've ever heard.
Yeah. I mean, they have so many hoops and red tape to jump through. On a legality standpoint, can you get the name on Twitter? Can you get the website? They do market research. How does a fan feel about it? I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't do a lot of work to come up with the Guardians. It's fine. To your point, I will forever be a baseball fan. It was my first love when I was a kid. That's all I wanted to be, was a professional baseball player. I got to semi-pro. That's as far as I got. And I'll root for that team every day of the week.
Rank the Cleveland team names.
I love the Cavaliers. I think that's cool. Browns are fine, then the Guardians.
That's how I would do it as well.
One team that I always loved, because I just haven't been a fan since their first day, the Blue Jackets. And people are like, where'd they come up with the Blue Jackets? It actually goes back to history and Ohio's kind of play in the Civil War and things like that. But I think the Blue Jackets are really cool.
Yeah, that's a cool name.
And then they have the cannon, all that kind of stuff. The thing is what you can grab on outside of the name, right? Can you do things? And that's where the Browns, while they're historic, and I don't want them to change their name, and I don't think they ever will, there's nothing to grab onto. You know, when you're a Panther or when you're a Bengal, or I'm not even saying the Animals, the Jets, there are things that you could grab onto to make a logo or make a thing. The Browns tried it with the dog, and they've tried it with the elf, and they've tried it with all that, but they're just so limited in what they can do in that capacity. The Cavs are pretty wide open, and I think they do a great job. I love their jerseys. I love their logos, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, Guardians changed their name 3 years in. It just kind of is what it is. Did you see, though? I saw this probably a week or two ago now. Did you know that there's a Native American group that is actually suing the Commanders because they want the name reinstated to the old name?
Oh, they want?
Yeah, they want the old name back.
Wow.
Because their claim was that the logo of the Washington former team name, Redskins, we know what it used to be.
Yeah.
The symbol was an actual chief of a tribe.
Yeah.
And their point is that is respecting that chief.
Get Chief Wahoo back.
Well, I mean, then you get back to, the Guardians changed and all that kind of, there's no way the Commanders will ever change. I don't think they'll ever change. But there's a Native American group that is, and now they might, because again, the mistake was, and this is how like the Seminoles get around it, is that they have the blessing of the Seminole tribe. The Blackhawks aren't necessary now, while they're a piece of crap organization for a lot of different reasons. I don't know how they necessarily get around it, but anyway, I mean, there's nothing really that the Indians were never going to stay. The Redskins were never going to stay. those were going to get changed. And they did. But there is a group that is trying to get it reinstated. So I'll have to see how that. All right, we continue on with a little bit of time up. We go back to this day, 2018. 5 years ago today, at the time, the Indians traded Edwin Encarnacion to the Mariners for Carlos Santana and Ryan. A trade that still makes my skin crawl. They traded Yandy Diaz to the Rays for Jake Bauers. All Yandy Diaz has done is turned himself into a guy that's a perennial batting title champion. What a miss, man. And I know that they traded him because they thought, rightly, Jose Ramirez is our future third baseman, but for Jake Bauers, man. We talk so many about the trades of, you got Mike Clevenger for nothing. You traded Jake Westbrook and got Corey Kluber. See what you got for Nolan Jones and what you got for Will. I know those guys are so early, but, dude, there's some bad trades in Indians team history as well. This day, 2015, Cleveland Browns get a win over the San Francisco 49ers, 24-10. Arguably the best game of Johnny Manziel's career. 21 out of 31, 270 passing yards, touchdown and an interception for a quarterback rating of 92. We also ran the ball for 15 yards. Isaiah Crowell, 20 carries, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Feed the crow.
You want to know the crazy thing about that game, Ryan? That ended a 7-game losing streak for the Browns. They would finish 3-13 that year. That was their last win, and their only win from October 18th until the end of the year was this day, 2015. Dare guess your leading receiver in that game for the Cleveland Browns?
2015.
Correct.
Not Josh Gordon.
No.
Greg Little.
No, good guess, though. No. We talked a lot of Ohio State. This guy's very heavily involved.
Why can I not think right now? This is embarrassing. I might need...
You know who I'm thinking of, right? Can you picture it or not at all?
I don't think so.
Brian Hartline.
Oh,
Brian Hartline.
Man.
8 grabs, 107 yards. I don't think you would ever be able to guess the quarterback that we beat for the San Francisco 49ers that day. Blaine Gabbert got that start there for them. So they were bad. They were 4-9 in their own right. But nonetheless, 2015, Johnny's first start since being benched earlier in the year. And as I mentioned, arguably his best game of his career. This day, 2010, the Big Ten made the horrible decision to name their divisions the Leaders and the Legends division. What a horse crap idea that was. And now they've gone to the East and the West, which it's all convoluted anyway. Get rid of the divisions, which they're the Leaders and Legends division. Really? Somebody sat down in a room and not only came up with that idea, but approved that idea for a $1 billion conference that Leaders and Legends would be the name of the conference. Not good from the Big Ten. This day, 1642. It's not even as far back as we're going to go.
Oh, sweet.
1642. Dutch navigator Abel Tasman believes that he has found a mythical southern continent when he lands upon and discovers New Zealand. So going from Dutch, from Europe down, he found New Zealand.
Good find.
Good find, I guess. Any want to go to New Zealand? I'd rather go to Australia.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, because don't they all have the same accent? Like New Zealand, South Africa, and like Australian, aren't they all kind of? Yeah, I think they're all. I don't know. I'm not a very world travel guy. New Zealand, I don't know if it really does it for me. All right, I said we're going to go older than that because this day, 1636. Here's a good one. Here's your trivia question. This component of the U.S. military was founded this day, 1636, and it is the oldest, still active, and the oldest part of the United States military was this group founded this day, 1636.
1636.
1636.
The Marine Corps?
No.
It's
a really hard question. I don't know if you'll actually be able. It's not like you would think Navy, Army, something like that. It's not that.
Oh, really?
Obviously, it's not the Air Force. There was no planes.
I was
in
going, yeah, I was
1636.
going to
No,
my
it's not
wig.
the Air Force.
Oh man, that's a good one. Is it Peace Corps part?
No,
of that?
good. But I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
You're not wrong thinking that. The United States National Guard was founded
okay.
this day, 1636. It is the oldest component of the United States military, which makes sense because, again, what's the National Guard?
Yeah.
Stuff goes bad. We need people to come help out. Here we are. 3 Heismans this day in history. This day, 1997, Charles Woodson. This day, 2003, Jason White of Nebraska. And then, of course, 2014, Marcus Mariota wins the Heisman this day in history. Very happy birthday goes out to Larry Doby. Of course, broke the color barrier here in the American League. Golfer Ricky Fowler, Dick Van Dyke, Jamie Foxx, Christopher Plummer, Steve Buscemi. When I say Steve Buscemi, which role do you think of? Donnie from Big Lebowski for me.
I think of him in Boardwalk Empire.
Okay, that's a good one, too. Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 fame. Cleveland's own Mike Snyder, legendary sports commentator in town. And oh, yeah, I hope Travis got her something nice for her birthday today. It is Taylor Swift's birthday.
I can't believe I
today.
woke up and didn't know that.
What do you get Taylor Swift for her birthday? Or Christmas, where 'tis the season?
Maybe he's getting her a ring.
Maybe. That'll be a quick one right there. All right, 4 for you today. This is so hard to do when I can't play the sound because all 4 of these have an extremely iconic line that now I want to say extremely iconic, but I would play the clip and you would probably get it. So we will start this day, 2019. Oh man,
Parasite.
no, good guess. Good movie, great movie. Bobby Boucher gets into the gambling ring.
Oh, Uncut Gems.
Yeah, Uncut Gems is correct. This is how I win. KG, this is my game. This is how I win. Uncut Gems is correct.
KG.
This day, 2019. Next up, this day, 2002. A father of a lot of kids and his high school musical endeavors. Father of a lot of kids and his high school music endeavors.
Is
This
High
day-
School Music? Like High School Musical?
No,
Oh.
no,
Cheaper by the dozen?
no. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not a high school, college musical endeavors. They're 2 separate things. This guy has a lot of kids in real life.
Oh.
A lot of kids in real life.
College music endeavors. There's a lot of kids.
If I said somebody who has a lot of kids, who would you say?
Philip Rivers?
No, good guy. Yeah, okay, fine. Philip Rivers. Not Philip Rivers, somebody else. Who else gets made fun of incessantly for having a bajillion kids?
In the film industry?
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't think of it.
Nick Cannon?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Nick. He's in the movies?
Oh, yeah. He did a lot of movies,
I have no idea.
including Drumline.
I've never heard of it.
Never even heard of it?
Uh-uh.
All right. Drumline, this day 2002. So there you go. All right, next up, this day 1996. Maverick helps his guy get a big contract.
Mission Impossible?
No. Maverick
Tom Cruise?
helps his guy get a big contract.
Get a big contract.
Yep.
What?
Really? Huh. Again, I would say the line or give you the clip, but it would give it away in 2 seconds. This film won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. It was nominated for Best Film and Best Actor for Tom Cruise. Another very famous actor is in this movie.
Is it when they go to Vegas?
No. I don't want to go to Vegas necessarily.
I have no idea.
Show Me the Money? Nothing?
Haven't heard of it.
Jerry Maguire.
Wow.
Jerry Maguire. It's one of the first, so Tom Cruise plays Rod Tidwell as Cuba Gooding Jr., who won for Best Supporting Actor, by the way. So he plays Rod Tidwell, who's a star stud wide receiver, and Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise is his agent. So it's first ever like film like agent-wise, I guess, in a way, for Jerry Maguire. All right, final one. Now, I mentioned to you earlier that there was a hint. Do you remember what your hint was?
It was like Mars. I said Mars.
Okay. Do you have any guess on that? Just off of
What year?
1996.
1990. So it's like Spaceballs?
No. An ensemble cast. Jack Nicholson, Glenn Close, Annette Bening, Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, Martin Short, Sarah Jessica Parker, Michael J. Fox, Tom Jones, and the late, great Mr. Jim Brown. All were in this film.
What?
Jim Brown was in this movie.
I have no idea.
Nothing.
No.
And not even with the Mars.
Like the planet, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No idea.
Have you ever heard of the movie Mars Attacks?
No.
Oh, God. It's a great flick.
Wow.
So it's very episodic. So what it is we get invaded by aliens from Mars. And they have giant green heads. They live in a bubble. And they speak. They're like, ah. Like, that's what they sound like. And I'm spoiling the whole movie. It's a good movie.
Okay.
But it follows all these people. So, like, Jack Nicholson plays the president, okay? Glenn Close is his wife. Sarah Jessica Parker and Pierce Brosnan are these, like, one's a professor, the other one's a TV person. And then Jim Brown is a car dealer in Vegas, and he's trying to get home to his family. Like, there's an invasion going. So it's very episodic where, like, Brosnan and Sarah Jessica Parker, they get sucked up into the spaceship, and then there are these two kids that stumble upon the way to defeat the aliens. It's really weird, but it's a great flick. Mars Attacks.
I'll have to check it out.
Check it out. This day in history. So your 4 movies: Uncut Gems, Drumlines, Jerry Maguire, and of course Mars Attacks. All this way in history. All right, final thing for the Browns. I saw this morning from CBS. Playoff strength for all of the AFC playoff contending teams. So they did 11 teams. The easiest schedule on the way out: the Kansas City Chiefs, Patriots, Raiders, Bengals, and Chargers. Tied for second easiest: Broncos and the Jags. Folks, the third easiest schedule on the way out: your Cleveland Browns, Bears, Texans, Jets, and Bengals. Hardest schedule: the Ravens. Tell me the division's not a thing.
It's not.
Jags, 49ers,
Don't
Dolphins,
get your hopes
Steelers. The hardest schedules: Ravens, Dolphins, Steelers, and Bengals are the top teams.
If the Rams would have beat them, we'd be cooking.
I know. We'd be in a lot better spot right now, but that's where we're at. So the Browns have the third easiest schedule on the way out from here. It's never easy when it comes to our big play bracket of the week. Ryan, let's get to it.
All righty, there it is on the screen, I should say. Matt,
Did you advance chicken wings?
I was going to say it because I preloaded the graphic, but what do we want to do? Do we want to make chicken wings a thing?
I want to take them out.
I kind of
But
do
they
too.
won overwhelmingly.
Yeah, they
but
did.
It's our bracket. Take them out. Mozzarella sticks advances.
Okay, so we'll replace that with mozzarella
Take it
sticks.
out.
But other side, a little more close. Chips and guac, though, did get the win.
I voted pretzels.
I
voted pretzels. I just thought there's more to do with soft pretzels, in my opinion.
There is a major disrespect going on in that group to fried pickles. I was very upset.
No. I completely agree with it. So now we get to Group 3. Buffalo chicken dip, which is just always so good.
Yeah, that might be it.
Mac and cheese bites, sliders, and egg rolls. I think BCD is going to take that down. I think BCD is going to take it down.
I agree, most likely.
I could see a little push there for mac and
Group
cheese
4
bites.
could get interesting, Matt.
Jalap-
Jalapeno
yeah.
poppers, pigs in a blanket, loaded nachos, and potato skins. Potato skins was a surprisingly popular request.
I'm going to say loaded nachos. I love loaded nachos.
Yeah, I'm going to
man.
ride the nachos with you.
I'll go with that. So we'll tweet that out, write it from our show, at Matt Fontana Show. Drop us a follow there. And, of course, vote on our bracket. We'll send those out, and we will set the finals on a Thursday edition of the show tomorrow. Really no bets to place tonight on Tipico. How's my degenerate tennis bet this morning? Folks, I got like an hour ago. I just looked at something live on Tipico to see, and there was tennis going on in France, and I bet on some lady I've never heard of before.
Tell them the odds.
So she was minus 800 when I bet on her.
Did she lose?
She's losing.
Wow.
She's only minus 250 now. They're 1-1. in the third set.
You might be cooked.
If I lose a minus 800 bet, oh my God. Sign up with Tipico. Use that code BigPlay100. You can degenerate bet like I do in the morning on tennis. Here we are today, man. I don't know what to tell you. Big day for the Browns just from the standpoint of what are you going to do at tackle? Really, the other thing is there's no updates. Amari Cooper seems to be healthy. Denzel Ward is the one that we're going to have to watch this week. Like, I thought he was going to play last week. He couldn't get there. So we'll see. So keep an eye out for Denzel Ward. So we'll see what the Browns have to say a little bit later today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget Chico coming up 12-2. Don't miss that with him. And then, of course, tonight, come get some. Oh, not come get some. Oh, again, why don't we not have Bruce and Greg on a show? But Bruce Drennan tonight, bonus time with Bruce Drennan is up. You can follow that on YouTube. We're up on YouTube as well. And, of course, come get some. I keep saying come get some. It's my new Eric Ebron, Evan Ingram thing.
It's something every week.
Something like that. I will say bonus time tonight. Follow him on Twitter with Bruce. And, of course, for us, we're on YouTube at the Big Play channel, at Matt Fontana channel on YouTube, and then, of course, streaming on our Twitter platform as well, at Matt Fontana Show. Appreciate everybody joining us today. Have a hell of a Wednesday, and we'll talk to you on a Thursday edition. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana, and as always, take it easy.